You ever walk into a room full of people who wish you didn't exist? Well, picture this Westmore funeral home, the kind of place where grief wears designer shoes, where every sob is politely muffled and the windows shine like they've never known real sadness. Then the doors slam open so hard, even the dead might flinch in and I come. A 9-year-old black kid in pants 2 sizes too big, carrying a white baby girl in a pink blanket. I could feel every stare burning through my skin, but I didn't care. I walked up, straight as I could manage, pointed at the casket up front, and I said, "That man is my father, too." Yeah, that happened. Everything went dead quiet like. You could hear the chandeliers humming. In that box was James Rimple, the man everyone in the room claimed to know so well: husband, father, real estate tycoon. But I was there to prove none of them knew the whole story. The widow, Candace, all pearls and posture, clutched her grown son's arm, so tight her knuckles went white. I took another step, holding the baby tight, feeling my heart beat hard enough to crack a rib. James Rimple was my father. He's Joyce's father, too. I nodded at the baby. Candace's mouth dropped open just a breath, a flicker in her eyes. Maybe she recognized something in the baby's hazel gaze. Maybe she just remembered what it felt like to be blindsided. My mom, Melanie, came in behind me, hair face set, grief and resolve twisted up together. "I'm sorry," she said to the room, "but James made me promise his kids would know each other." Candace shook her head, whispering impossible, but the truth was already there, staring out of that baby's eyes. She muttered one word, DNA, and fell into a chair, pale as the lilies on every table. Let me back up a sec. 3 months earlier, James and my mom sat in his Mercedes outside our apartment. He just found out stage 4 pancreatic cancer, maybe a few months to live. All those years, he kept us, me, and my little sister separate from his other life. My mom said, "You have to tell her. Your wife deserves to know." James looked away. 14 years of secrets. Now what? "Because you're dying," Mom said, her voice almost cracking. "I won't let your children live like ghosts." He promised to fix things. Change his will. Make sure we belonged. But promises are easy, time isn't. So here we were, at the funeral, facing down a family that never knew we existed. Candace's son, Andrew, stepped in front of his mom, all jaw in cold fury. "This is a scam," he spat. "My father was faithful." Mom just handed him an envelope. "James wrote this for you." Andrew tore it open. His face went from hard to broken in seconds. "It's his handwriting," he whispered, showing it to Candace. She read it. Tears. All of it was true, Joyce, our life hidden in plain sight. But there's always more. "He changed his will," Mom said, voice trembling. "He wanted all his children cared for." That's when an older man, Harold Whitman, James's lawyer, stepped forward. "That's correct," he said, calm as a judge. "We should discuss this privately." But Candace shook her head, standing up straighter than ever. "No, if this letter is real, these children belong here." She crossed to me, eyes never leaving Joyce. The baby reached for her pearls. "May I?" Candace asked softly, and for the first time, I saw fear and hope wrestle in her eyes. I let her take Joyce. She held my sister and whispered, "Family is family, no matter what." Sounds like a happy ending, right? But not everyone was ready for family. Andrew looked like he'd bite a hole in the carpet. He pulled the lawyer aside, voices low and sharp. The funeral director edged Mom toward the door. And in the back, an old man snapped pictures on his phone, eyes calculating, already making calls. "Gerald, it's me. I just found our leverage at the Rimple funeral." Overnight, the quiet hope of family twisted into something dangerous. Candace, maybe out of guilt or duty, insisted we stay at the estate. For a kid from a tiny apartment, their mansion looked like something out of a movie. Marble floors, hallways big enough to lose yourself in. "Your room's bigger than our whole place," I whispered to Andrew. He didn't answer, just walked away, jaw tight. That night, I found Andrew staring at an old photo of James. "Did he ever mention us?" I asked. He didn't look up. Not once in 32 years. I tried to tell him about the Saturdays Dad spent with me, the chess games, the curveballs in the park. Andrew's face twisted. He said he was working all those Saturdays. The truth cut both ways. I was a secret joy, he was a public son. I'm sorry, I said, though it hardly mattered. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, Melanie and Candace sat over cold tea. Candace asked how long. Mom answered 10 years. I never meant to hurt anyone. Candace's laugh was brittle. How convenient for James. Then, a twist, Candace mentioned $3 million missing from James's accounts. Gambling? Melanie was stunned. He didn't gamble. Candace's eyes narrowed. Are you sure? Harold's office leather books, city views. Andrew sat there, stewing. My father left 30% of Rempel Development to a kid and a baby. His lawyer wanted to contest the will. James was dying, wasn't a sound mind. But Harold was ready, papers from doctors in hand. He was clear, and the money's accounted for except what's missing. Nobody knew where those millions had gone. Back at the house, I found Candace in James's office, digging through files. I offered to help. She pointed to a cabinet. We searched, silent. He used to say you were the smartest woman he knew, I said. Candace smiled, just a hint, then the doorbell rang. Andrew appeared, white-faced. The police are here. Detectives Rivera and Randy came in, real hard-boiled types. Mrs. Rempel, we're investigating transactions linked to your late husband offshore accounts. Andrew exploded. My father was honest. Rivera didn't blink. We've got evidence he was tied to the Castellano construction group. That name hit me hard. Dad had argued about Castellano, angry, talking about boundaries. Melanie walked in, pale. Did you say Castellano? She pulled up a photo. He came to see me before James died. Said he was an old friend. Suddenly, the funeral's photographer made sense. Was Castellano. Upstairs, Joyce screamed. We bolted. Andrew reached the room first, catching a masked figure with the baby in one arm, a USB drive in the other. Rivera's gun flashed. Give me the child now. The intruder, desperate, handed over Joyce and bolted, disappearing into the night. That was just the beginning. The police set up outside. Candace moved us to the safest part of the house. Andrew and I, suddenly allies, pored over Dad's files with Candace. We found an insurance folder, photos, coded spreadsheets, audio files. James's voice. I refused the payment. Castano is cutting corners. The building's not safe. The reply. You should reconsider, James. We know about your complicated family. Chilling, right? Rivera was on it. We need to get this to the department. But then, chaos, alarms, glass breaking, masked men swarming the estate. Candace hustled us into a panic room, then to the garage. We escaped in an SUV just as the intruders stormed the house, barely ahead of danger. We called Rivera. We're headed to Lake Evergreen. Dad hid something there. But Candace warned, James suspected his devices were tapped. They might be listening. Moonlight painted the lake silver as we neared the old cabin. Andrew cut the headlights, gun at the ready. Together, we searched, remembering Dad's words, where we had our last good day. The boathouse. We found a hidden compartment, a waterproof case. But as we did, SUVs appeared. Castellano's crew was here. We made a break for the boat. Omar remembered another of James's secrets, a hidden speedboat. We loaded up, Candace stalling the men at the boathouse door as we sped away. She's got guts, Andrew muttered as we disappeared across the water. But the Castellanos weren't far behind, searching with their own boats. We changed course, ducked into a creek, hiked through the woods to an old hunting cabin. Inside the case was a USB, a letter from James, a safe deposit box key. The letter broke use apologies, regrets, and a confession. The Castellanos had threatened to expose everything. The $3 million? Bearer bonds, hidden for us to rebuild. No time for tears. Men with flashlights crashed through the woods. I took the drive and ran, using a secret route Dad had shown me, barely dodging Jonathan Castellano himself. He had Candace's broken pearls. Your father was brave, he hissed, but he was running out of time. Cancer helped, but a little push sealed it. The implication hit me like ice. I made a desperate move, threw the necklace in his face and ran, cutting through the forest to the lake where Detective Rivera found me. She pulled me aboard, took the drive, and radioed, "Target secure." Evidence recovered. Sirens and police lights swept the forest. Jonathan's reign was over. 3 days later, Candace, bruised but upright, held Joyce at the hospital. Andrew announced the Castellanos were facing charges, construction halted on the dangerous building, Dad's documentation saving lives, and the Nan unexpected offer. Andrew wanted us to stay at the estate. "We're family," he said, awkward but sincere. Candace and Melanie agreed. Family is family, no matter what. Dad's last legacy wasn't steel or glass, but the hope we could be better than him together. We weren't whole, not yet, but we were something new. I watched the city lights, my father's towers in the distance. Andrew came to stand beside me. "Pretty amazing view," he said. "Dad used to say buildings are just buildings. It's the people inside who matter." I nodded, hope sparking in my chest. Can you ever really rebuild trust from the wreckage of secrets? I don't know, but we were willing to try. What would you have done if it was your family, your legacy on the line? Was James Rimple a villain, or just a man trapped by his own choices? Tell me what you think what's justice, what's forgiveness, and who really deserves a second chance. Drop your thoughts below, because I have a feeling this conversation is just getting started.